Okay, hello everybody. It's Royce here, and I want to welcome you all to my Royce in the House YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about Pink Floyd tonight and how infighting between David Gilmour and Roger Waters created an absolute masterpiece of a song. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, I want to ask everyone to please hit the like button, the thumbs up button, the like button, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I ask you to do this is because if I get enough likes, people searching for content, something to watch on YouTube, the algorithm will grab my content and present it to them. And that really helps the show. It doesn't cost anybody a dime, but it helps the show to grow. Okay, so let's get right to it. How a Pink Floyd fight between David Gilmour and Roger Waters created an absolute masterpiece. Okay, you know, mental and emotional strain in the recording studio is often standard practice that at times works as a creative tool, motivating musicians to create some of their best work, as Pink Floyd can attest. While stress in the studio can also have a very negative effect, preventing many artists from excelling, it's not always the case. Currently, David Gilmour and Roger Waters' relationship is reported to be damaged beyond repair. For over 40 years now, they have been feuding. 40 years, okay, with rare exception like the performance at the Live 8 in 2005, where they set aside their dislike for one another for a charitable cause. And I thought that was that was mighty big of them. Okay, Waters and Gilmour, both strong personalities, and you know where that can lead at times. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. Had butted heads for a long time. During the creation of the Wall in 1979, the environment wasn't easy. However, Gilmour and Waters could thrive in conditions that would have sent most bands to an early grave. Okay, with the Wall, Waters took control, showing little regard for input from the other members of Pink Floyd. The album remains his passion project, which is why he continues to tour it decades after its release. Roger's dominance on the Wall pushed Gilmour into a secondary position, where Gilmour didn't like to find himself, for much of the album's creation. Okay, all right, so it wasn't only Waters and Gilmour who were fighting during this time. The keyboardist, Richard Wright, was also seriously struggling. All right, he was having a hard time. At that time, he was consumed by personal problems, marriage problems, you name it, which was affecting his relationship with his bandmates. Excuse me. Before he eventually left the band in 1981. Okay, and that was Richard Wright. Yet, despite all the external issues that ultimately found their way into the recording sessions, Pink Floyd produced a seminal album, which notably included the masterpiece, Comfortably Numb. All right. It's a track that typifies the brilliance of Pink Floyd, a signature song that was a result of a studio altercation. So let's get into how this amazing song all came about. Okay, well, Gilmour and Waters' collaboration led to many creative heights. Both men brought out the best and worst in each other. Unlike other famous songwriting partnerships like the Beatles, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, Gilmour and Waters were never soulmates in music. Waters and Gilmour often chose very different motifs and themes for their material, representing the contrast in their personalities. However, despite their differences, they were stronger together, as demonstrated by their, later their solo work, which paled by comparison to the heights that Pink Floyd had achieved. I mean, the solo stuff of either one of them came nowhere near what Pink Floyd was. So they were stronger together. They were better together. At the time of Comfortably Numb, the duo's creative differences appeared to split the band. In fact, in Mark Blake's 2008 book, Comfortably Numb, he stated, the inside story, which the name of the book was The Inside Story of Pink Floyd, which I recommend personally. I recommend people read that. Great book. Okay, Gilmour described the song as the last embers of mine and Roger's ability to work collaboratively together. The song's seed was planted during the recording session for Gilmour's self-titled debut solo album in 1978, which provided insight into the band members' relationships. You see, all the band members were signed to solo deals as part of Pink Floyd's recording contract. They were all required to make a solo album as well, okay, suggesting they needed breathing room from Pink Floyd and an opportunity to explore their individual creativities. Okay, well, Gilmour's debut solo offering didn't have the same cultural stamp as Pink Floyd material from the same era. It did give us Comfortably Numb, okay? So Gilmour's solo album had Comfortably Numb on it. Admittedly, the track the track truly came to life once Waters added his lyrics, because previously Gilmour's song Comfortably Numb was just strictly instrumental. It was just an instrumental take on the song. So, Roger Gilmour came in, added his lyrics. It all came from a major argument he had with Gilmour. Okay, speaking with Absolute Radio in 2011, Waters recounted the fight that would provide us with a masterpiece of the highest caliber. Dave and I, when we were in the south of France, where we did most of our recording for The Wall, we had quite a serious disagreement about the recording of Comfortably Numb. Okay, Roger Waters continued, is probably one story where his memory and my memory almost certainly exactly the same. It was that we had made a rhythm track and I loved it, and he thought it wasn't precise enough rhythmically. So he recut the drum track and said, "That's better." So I went, "No, it's not. I hate that," says Roger Waters. So anyway, co-producer Bob Ezrin, brought into Floyd's camp to smooth the tension, spoke in the same book, and he discussed the song in more details than Waters. He called Gilmour's take, more stripped down and harder, okay, than Waters, which he called the grander Technicolor orchestral version. Naturally, the duo found competition with one another on the fact and tried to enact their own will on the other. That turned into a real arm wrestle, Ezrin recalled. But at least this time, there was only two sides to the argument. Dave on one side, Roger on the other side, and I on the other side. Sounds like three sides to an argument to me. What are you talking about, Ezrin? Okay, after much wrangling that somehow landed on a compromise, the body of the song would boast the orchestral arrangement, but only on the condition that the guitar solo on the outro would be from Gilmour's composition, okay? The Pink Floyd duo were stubborn to the core. While this personality trait led to countless disagreements and tensions, it was also the reason they achieved perfection on Comfortably Numb. Folks, I have a lot more stories that I've already done and a lot that'll be coming up on Royce in the House YouTube channel. So once again, please hit that thumbs up button for me. If you like the content, I have shows like this one that are short, all the way up to shows that are a couple of hours long. I have two different playlists that are totally music oriented, and there's other stuff in the playlist as well. But anyway, so please check us out. Please consider subscribing to the channel. The channel's been growing, and we really appreciate everybody. And I appreciate everybody that watches this, whether you watch it when it comes on and you go into the live chat, and it'll be on later today, or whether you watch it at some later date. We really appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you so much. And that's what's going on in Royce's world today. Thank you once again.